Welcome to Design Domination, where you'll learn to become a better, more business-savvy designer so you can dominate your competition. This episode is brought to you by my Essentials and Ultimate Brand Style Guide templates. Either version will help you charge more for your branding work, save tons of time, and be more respected as a design expert. Each version is provided in Adobe InDesign files, Affinity Publisher, and Google Slides. Just go to creative-boost.com and click on Resources and then Premiums. Hi, and thanks for tuning in. I'm Colleen Grotzer, and in this episode of Design Domination, I've got brand doctor himself, Henry Kaminski Jr. We're going to talk all about branding and focusing your business. Henry Kaminski Jr. is the founder of Unique Designz, a full-service design, branding, and digital marketing agency that is dedicated to helping personality brands, coaches, consultants, influencers, speakers, and authors design and grow their brands, scale their profits, and increase their exposure online. He is the author of the Amazon bestseller, Refuse to Give Up. He's also host of the popular Brand Doctors podcast, where he talks about strategies that help entrepreneurs design reputable and profitable personal brands. As a self-taught graphic designer and brand consultant, he's overcome all the odds to build a wildly successful multimillion-dollar business over the past 12 years. He has worked with a diverse range of business owners and professionals, including celebrities like Jon Bon Jovi and Fabio Viviani, as well as internet marketing expert Russell Brunson, who has named Henry the $1 Million Brander, and recently has been inducted into the ClickFunnels 2 Comma Club by generating over $1 million with one single sales funnel using the ClickFunnels software. Brand doctor in the house, Henry Kaminski, and a fellow Pitbull lover. Welcome to the podcast, Henry. It's great to have you here.
What is going on, Colleen?
So I thought we'd start out with a couple of fun questions.
Sure.
Number one is, would you rather see the future or change the past?
Future all day.
Really? Okay. Why is that?
Yep. Because the past is the past. It's over. I can't do anything with it anymore. So I'm just going to let it be.
Okay. And then number two is, would you rather wrestle a lion or fight a shark?
I think I could take the shark.
Really?
I'm not quite sure I could take the lion.
Oh. But the shark has a bigger mouth. I mean, a lot of teeth.
But I think I can knock the shark out of his misery a lot faster than the lion. The lion's got 4 paws to deal with, and the shark's just got one mouth to try to figure out how to get me.
So, you said in an early episode of your podcast that you made $248,000 in the first year. That is totally amazing. And I wanted to ask you, what do you think contributed to that success?
Oh, man, straight hustle and focus. Back in the day, I was not a great designer. I will be honest with you, Colleen. My designs were freaking awful. They were gross. Like, I look back and I'm like, oh my God, people actually hired me. Right. But the one thing that I never, ever gave up on was my ability to be self-aware. And what I did see, the reason why people were hiring me is because I was really fast. It might not have been the best design, but at the time when I was working in the nightclub industry and all the club promoters were very adamant about getting things back fast so they could get it out there and make more money, I dialed into that and I just spoke to that, and I drummed up a lot of business very quickly, and I just stayed focused on that and just I worked 20-hour days, Colleen. It was awful. Like,
Oh, I get it.
Right. So, but but that's what I attribute it to, just focusing in on what my customers really valued and not focusing in on my deficiency. I was like, listen, if I do enough of these, I'm eventually going to get good. So just keep going. And 13 years later, here I am.
Well, Henry, that kind of ties into something that you've said about people buy your level of caring, not your product or service.
Yeah. Well, I'm a firm believer in that, but also you have to have a good product or service too. Your product can't suck. Your service can't suck because, your personality is going to get you so far, right? You still got to deliver quality service and a result for your customer. But I will tell you, again, back when I was starting out, I was not very skilled in design, but I always had a full client roster because I really cared about my customers. And the other thing was, well, actually, I take that back. Okay. As I got more mature in my entrepreneurial career, I realized that if you're going to serve a higher quality customer, meaning they're going to pay you a lot more, right? They're going to want to connect with you as a person first, then, you know, really care about the product or service deliverable. I think that has helped me tremendously throughout my career, is to put myself out there and be absolutely vulnerable. So,
Like, in what way?
yeah, so 2017 was a very hard year for me. I went into $40,000 in debt. I had to refund $40,000 worth of client work because my processes and systems inside my business were not existent. And I had 2 big projects go to hell in a handbasket. And I spoke publicly about how that all went down and left no rock unturned because I did not want anybody else to go through that mess that I went through. And that built a lot of trust and rapport and credibility with my audience online. I could share with you another example that I literally recorded. So from one of my brand accelerator clients, I asked him when he came on board, I said, why? What made you decide to move forward with me? And he said, well, it wasn't just one thing. He said, 1, you're very savvy with ClickFunnels. I'm not. I need your help. 2, you won the 2 Comma Club Award.
Wow.
Which is when you have a ClickFunnel that has generated over $1 million in revenue. He's like, but lastly, I think what really put me over the top was, 1, you're a dad, and 2, your videos are extremely vulnerable. Now, here's a former military guy who was trained to see through bullshit.
Yeah.
And he said, I connected with your videos on a personal level, which really entrusted me. And well, you built up a lot of trust with me. And he said, lastly, on your website, there are Uber's amount of success stories. And that put me over the edge. So I would not be able to get all of that if I didn't care about my customers. I do truly believe that the more you care, the more they will share.
Yeah, that's true. So what was your journey like when it comes to gaining deep knowledge of branding and marketing?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the first 8 years of my career, I did not do any study really. I just kind of like learned throughout the way. And if I got stuck, I would like YouTube it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was all self-taught. I never went to formal art school or anything like that. And then as I got more mature and I hit sort of a rough patch back in 2010 or 11, where I just got sick of it. I just got sick of what I was doing. I wasn't happy designing. I wasn't happy with my clients. I just wasn't happy with anything. And I realized that if I don't level up the value that I am delivering to my customers, I will always have low paying customers.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sick and tired of it because they were like bottom feeders.
Yeah. Ugh.
Right. And I was competing on price and I was getting destroyed. And I finally said, enough's enough. I need to level up my standards and go in on heavy education. So what I did was I paid to play. I didn't have a lot of money back then, but I spent every nickel I had on coaching. I spent $10,000 with Russell Brunson for a year. Then later on, once I made that money back, spent another $25,000 on his coaching. And then eventually I started charging those prices because I felt like I knew enough and the value that I was delivering was way more than what I was charging.
Yeah.
And it all paid off at the end. So but I studied the greats. I got around the greats. I paid to be in the same room as the greats. And they started to rub off on me.
Well, they say, what is it saying? You're going to be most like the 5 people that you hang around the most or something?
That is so true. It's so true.
Now, you started a niche consultancy for sports brands, right?
I did, but we're actually pausing that for now because we want to focus on the 80% of clients that we typically serve on a regular basis. We do have some NFL clients that play for the NFL, and we're helping them build their social media and helping them build out their charity foundations and things like that. But my sole purpose is not to focus on specific professional athletes any longer. This was a very recent pivot too. We see another community that needs our help, and we're going to go all in on that community.
So how did you decide to target them as opposed to others?
Yeah. So the reason why we started targeting professional athletes was, one, I align with their values. So I consider myself a professional athlete in the funnel architecture space.
Mhm.
And right. So in the digital marketing space. So we align, like the way we see the world. These guys are go-getters. They're not going to give up. They're going to scrap it out until they make it to the top. They are going to do whatever it takes.
Mm.
And that's my philosophy. And I'm not sugarcoating anything here. You need to target an audience that is willing and able to pay for your service.
Absolutely.
Okay. So they're able to do both. And that's the reason why we chose them. Now, why we pivoted so quickly was because we were like literally starting from scratch in that niche. No matter how much design background or branding background or digital marketing background I have, you start a new niche and you're like starting from zero.
Yeah.
And I realized that professional athletes were not interested in branding services. They were not. They were interested in social media growth. That's it. How do I get 1 million followers on Instagram? All I care about.
Mm. Yeah, I guess that also supports like any sponsorships they get too. They grow their following.
Yeah. But what I realized was that's not, like, I've grown my social media accounts. I've grown a few of my other clients' social media accounts, but that's not a service that we offer. We want to develop brands. We want to create funnels that convert visitors to paying customers. We want to help people get their vision, mission, and message out to the right people. And we have a very systematic process in doing that. And I have countless case studies on my website to showcase that we're successful at doing this. So if I were to divert and start paying, start serving pro athletes on just helping them get more followers, it's going to take away from what we do really, really well. And I'm not willing to do that.
Yeah, that's great because so many designers want to do whatever the client has available for them in terms of work instead of focusing on what they really want to do and can really hone in on and then charge more for that.
Right. I mean, it's a perfect, if you ever read the book Built to Sell.
I love that book.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was life-changing.
It is fantastic. Now, when I read it, I said to myself, like, I don't know if I ever want to sell this business.
Right.
I honestly, I don't know, because I really love what I do, Colleen.
Mm-hmm.
When I wake, even when I am not in the mood, which we all get those days, I still am happy with what I do and the clients that I serve and the freedom that I have. And I am not going to let anything divert me from doing what I love to do, right? And that goes for clients too, especially clients that pay really well. I don't care about the money anymore. Honest to God, hands up.
Mm-hmm.
I've turned down multiple projects recently because they weren't aligned with my values and they weren't what we do best.
Yeah.
And I refuse to work with people that with scarcity mindsets.
Mm-hmm.
I refuse to work with people that don't believe in their own product or service. I don't want to work with people that are trying to make a fast buck. Those are not my people. My people want to make an impact. They want to make this world a better place. And they are committed to building a brand that they are proud of that is going to make a difference. Those are my people.
And so when you talk to them, when you're looking for new clients, what conversations are you having? Like whether it's like posts on social media or initial calls, what is your process for that? What are you saying to them or are they usually coming to you and they know what kind of a problem they have?
Yeah. So they're all coming to me and to sort of weed out the folks that aren't truly committed. We've raised my introductory consultation fee by 50%. Well, we doubled it and we actually get more consults now than we ever did. Go figure. And so that's qualification process number one. Qualification process number two is taking them through a series of questions. So they don't call me the brand doctor for anything, Colleen. I go through a very thorough diagnosis on that call to determine whether or not they're going to be a good fit for us, but also to determine whether or not our services are going to help them.
Mm-hmm.
They may be in the infancy stages where they might not be able to afford us. They might not be ready for what we offer. And we have to send them on their way or point them in the right direction. But we go through a very clear set of questions to help them get the clarity and focus they need to see whether or not, we're going to be a good fit for them. And then from there, they either are or they're not. And it's not good or bad.
Right.
It doesn't make a difference, right? I'd rather them go through a program that they're confident in, they're comfortable with, and that's going to get them the result that they're looking for, whether that's mine or not.
Right. And how do you see brand strategy and storytelling for brands evolving in the near future?
Oh, I think it's an absolute must. I think the days of throwing shit against the wall and seeing if it sticks are over. We don't have that runway anymore. We don't have that room for error anymore.
Yeah.
So I would advise anybody that is in the process of rebranding or getting into business or has an existing business that they want to scale it online to never underestimate the power of planning and strategy. Like I always say these silly stories like, are you going to jump on a plane with a pilot that smells like booze that gets on the mic and says, you know what, guys, forgot to submit my plans today. We're going to get up there. We're going to wing it to LA. Hold on tight. Hopefully we get there in 5 hours.
Well, I'm not getting on the plane in the first place.
I forgot. Colleen doesn't fly. But You're not getting on that plane. You're not getting on that plane.
Right.
The other example is, and I use this one more often, is you walk into a doctor's office and before you can say 2 words, he like rubs your shoulder and says, you know what? We're going into surgery tomorrow. Are you going?
No.
The third example is you're going to war. Are you not going to sit down with the general and map out a plan prior to getting on the battlefield? You're dead if you don't do that.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing for business. And, I preach now, but I wish I had the service that I deliver when I was starting out. I would be doing this interview from my 100-foot yacht if I did. And so that's where I say, and then storytelling is very, very important because that's how we as human beings digest information the best.
True.
So if we can get really good at storytelling, you are going to captivate an audience and grab their attention like no other. And that's what this game is all about these days, capturing people's attention. I hope that was a good answer.
Yeah, that was great. That was great.
I hope that was helpful.
So, Henry, did focusing help you scale your business?
Oh, yeah. Listen, that key for that phrase or that cliche quote, the riches are in the niches, it's so true, Colleen. It's so true.
Yeah.
I had tons of digital products. I had about 11 digital products at one time.
Wow.
I had a group coaching program. I had my course. Okay, so I had all of that. And then my brand accelerator program, which was like my core offer, right? That's the high ticket offer. That's the one-on-one and done for you stuff. And it was so hard to market all of that stuff to my ideal client because my ideal client does not want a $30 ebook. They don't want a $150 Instagram training. They don't want any of that shit. So what I decided to do early this year in 2020 was to get rid of all of it. All of it. And all I kept was my course and the Brand Accelerator program and the Brand Yourself course. Those are the only two offers that I sell now, and business is booming.
Isn't it funny how that works like that?
Right? So it was so funny. Like, branding really is about subtraction, not adding. And if you are going to add something, what are you going to subtract? So I've gotten religious with that, but now I have a very simple offering, and we are closing more Brand Accelerator clients than ever before. And I believe that it's because I have eliminated the distractions, simplified the site, simplified my message, focus only on this one specific type of client that we like to serve. Everything's getting so much easier.
Yeah.
So I wish I would have known that 13 years ago.
I know, me too. Okay, so now you have a video series, right?
I put together a 4-part video series. Let me break this down for you because I think your audience is going to appreciate why I did this. I had this 26-minute video that was basically a webinar that showcased my backstory and also showcased 3 really awesome case studies that I worked with in the past. One was Bon Jovi, one was Russell Brunson, one was an awesome dude by the name of Adam Wenning, who's like a phenomenal internet marketer who just goes on to crush everything that he sets out to do. Young guy too, really, really sharp guy. And then there was another client, Brentley Shapiro, out in Canada, who we helped literally double her business by working with half of the amount of people that she typically works with. And we put that in a case study video that was 26 minutes long. But as we watched the analytics, we saw that right after my 7-minute backstory, 75% of people stopped watching the video. They didn't even get to the case studies. So I was like, well, how do we figure this out? So I thought of Netflix right away. People will binge watch a 30-minute show or a series in they'll sit there for 3 hours if they can chew off little 30-minute episodes, right? So I said, all right, how do we do this? So I went to my video editor. I said, here's a 26-minute video. I want you to chop it up in 4. And I want you to leave cliffhangers at the end of every video with a call to action that points them to the next video. We doubled the viewership.
Wow.
We got more consultation calls than ever.
Wow.
So there's the story behind that. So now I just send people to the landing page that has the 4 videos on them, and they can actually pick which ones they want to watch. You should watch it in order because it'll make more sense, right? But they can watch the Russell Brunson case study. They can watch the Bon Jovi case study and be out if they want, right? So we've been driving a lot of traffic to there, and people are just getting to know, like, and trust me a lot more now that they're watching all 4 videos, and our revenues are showing that this was a smart move.
That's amazing. So where can they find these videos?
So if you go to Unique Designz with a Z at the end, not an S, .net, and you scroll down just right underneath the fold, you'll see how Henry helps his clients scale their businesses. You just put in your name and email, and you'll get access to these 4 video series.
All right. Well, thanks, Henry, for being on the podcast. It's really been a pleasure.
Colleen, thanks for having me.
If you liked this content, please leave a review and share it on social media. Do you need help enhancing your design skills or working through a freelancing issue? Go to creative-boost.com to apply for design mentoring. Also, check out the free resources and join us in the Design Domination Facebook group.